discussions. This is about women coming together to sit round my dining room table to dispel the myths on different topics. Our first dining room discussion is about HRT and its impact on different people's lives. There are people that are enjoying HRT, there are those that have chosen a different route to HRT, and then there's people around the table that don't believe they need HRT or any of the other solutions. It's a really interesting discussion. First dining room discussion, bringing women together to talk about different topics, and today we've chosen to talk about HRT. The reason for that is I'm cruising along after started in July on HRT, estrogen, and then within 2 months progesterone, and then testosterone started in October. And I've just had my third review, and it makes me very happy. Obviously, it makes you happy too.
They do say laughter is infectious.
HRT for me has been a very positive experience. I'm no longer up and down with my emotions as I was before, and I made the choice after doing lots of research to come on to HRT because I felt I was also future-proofing. You may be aware of my mum has dementia, and one of the things that affects dementia is believed to be lowering estrogen, and so for me I wanted to do as many preventative actions as possible for heart disease, osteoporosis and dementia. Was my reasons, as well as my erratic behaviour. So I brought these fabulous women here today because we've got different viewpoints. I know that Debbie and also Becky have both had great experiences, and obviously I don't know whether you want to speak for yourselves because you're both still on HRT.
Yes,
and
I am. So my journey probably started in 2012, and I was having the most horrendous periods, nothing else, just really bad periods. Went to the doctor, he told me I was perimenopausal, and then it was probably about 6 months after I had to go back again, and I asked for a referral, and I ended up having a full hysterectomy, and the following day started HRT, and I've been on it now for 9 years.
So interestingly, did they have you ever had to change your HRT, or they got it right straight away?
No,
that was a forced menopause effectively by having surgical.
So I started off with 2 milligrams, and I was on 2 milligrams for probably about 5-6 years, and then they say you should only be on it for 5 years. That's what I was told by the doctor. But I went to see somebody else, and they said no, carry on if you feel okay on it. So I then decided, don't ask me why, but I do things like this, don't Becky? Take matters into my own hands. I decided to drop it down to 1 milligrams and then to stop it completely for about 3 months. And I noticed all my joints were so sore, mood swings, really low mood. So I went back, and I'm now back on 2 milligrams. And the doctor I've got now has been so supportive. So she said you can stay on it for as long as you wish, basically. So, I mean, she's got patients, she said, that are in the late 70s and are still on it. So I will be one of those.
Dramatically.
So 9 years I've been on it. So I feel I've got off really lightly. No, I've not had any of the hot sweats, or I didn't have any of that because I had a hysterectomy the following day. I went on to HRT.
So your HRT will just be estrogen, won't it? Because you don't need
2
milligrams because
estrogen,
you've
that's
had a
all I
hysterectomy.
take.
Yeah, because the progesterone is still because I'm still fertile, supposedly.
Yeah.
So, yeah, okay. But you've never gone down the route of the testosterone, or?
No, we've had discussions about that because I read an awful lot about it, and my husband takes it. And that was because he went to the doctors, he was really tired, so he takes like a gel. Is that what?
Yes, that's a cream, yeah.
Yeah, that you just rub in, yeah.
Yeah.
So I
We decided to pinch it.
decided.
She sells medication. She's now called Bruce.
So yes, I
She
do.
came out the next day with a massage.
So I thought, oh, I'll have a go at this. So I started to like rub it into the top of my leg and my arm, and then I was texting you and I said, you know, I shouldn't really be doing. I shouldn't be doing this. I said I've got visions of waking up, you know, and full on beard and moustache
and
on the
Adam's
morning.
apple's grown.
So that is something that I'm looking at.
Yeah, because the testosterone part is partly libido, but also the testosterone part is lowering that is problematic for brain function as well.
Right.
And I was getting quite anxious because I couldn't concentrate, I couldn't remember anything. Still can't remember things, but it's got better in terms of I can concentrate, and it's making me. There's definitely
I think that's the next
impact.
step too.
Yeah.
Because I'd always thought menopause, it's about, you know, your period stopping. That's it. I didn't really think about anything else. But actually, on reflection, so I think my very first symptom was hair loss.
Right.
So my hair was very, very thin, and it was just getting thinner and thinner. And then I noticed that I was getting night sweats, but they weren't that bad. And I thought, oh, I think, you know, this is fine. You know, I can cope with this. And they just got worse and worse and worse. And then the joint aches. And probably being a really moody bitch. I didn't think I was at the time, but now I'm on the HRT, I realise I really was. So it was just a very slow creep. And I thought, you know, I'm one of these people, I don't rely on anything. You know, I don't even take paracetamol. You know, I'm really careful. I think I'm a strong woman. I don't need this, you know. I can get through this. I don't need to take anything. And in the end, I just thought, and I tried reflexology. I tried lots of different things thinking I'm not going to succumb to HRT. And then it was probably April last year. It was just so bad. And it was the sleep. It was more the sleep. I mean, I looked like I'd been dug up. You talk about being dug up before. I looked like I was dug up. I had, you know, bags down here, probably having 5 hours sleep, if I was lucky, every night, probably for about 3 years.
And trust me, Becky can sleep. She
and
certainly can.
I think that's because I love my sleep and I've always been able to sleep. The fact that I couldn't sleep
was pushing you over the edge.
Almost killed me. You know, it really
Sleep
it
deprivation
really
is
did.
just the worst
So
thing.
how long between being 47 to April?
So I'm 55 this year.
Right, okay.
So and I've been on it for 10 months.
Right. So that was a long time.
Yeah, because I just kept
Because you were
thinking,
I'll
I just
be
thought,
okay.
oh, it'll be okay. But then the sweating got worse. And I remember actually, and at first it was just night sweats, but then they started in the day. I remember being at work probably about 3 years ago actually, and I was having a meeting with our chief finance officer, and I suddenly thought, oh my God, I could smell BO, and I thought, this is horrendous. This is awful. So yeah, it just went on for a long time. And actually, when I started on the HRT, my periods had only really just started. I'd gone for 3 months without one. So I'd had the build-up with all the other symptoms. And actually, it was all those other symptoms, I think, that probably should have alerted me to the fact. But it wasn't. I was just waiting for the periods to stop. Yeah.
But if you
But within, I would say, 4 days, I reckon. 4 days of taking HRT. My God. Slept like a log. Felt so much better. But I was the same. So I did estrogen. I was on is it Elastuet? So you do 2 weeks of estrogen, 2 weeks of progesterone. But when I went on to the progesterone part of the tablets, I actually said to my husband at the time, I don't know what's worse, menopause symptoms or symptoms from progesterone.
It settles down, doesn't it?
Oh, it did settle down, but now I've changed. I don't take tablets, I take gel.
Right.
Have progesterone tablets separately, which make a huge difference. But that was from going to the Newsom clinic.
Yeah.
So they changed me, and I'm now taking testosterone as well.
Right.
Yeah.
So
it just going into my 3rd month.
Right.
Yeah.
And have you noticed a difference to the testosterone as well yet?
Hand on heart, no.
No.
But then they do say it can take
6 months
Yeah.
more. Yeah. I definitely think that the concentration levels have improved. Definitely. So.
Can I ask how long? My sister's gone through the Newsom clinic as well. I'm not going down that road. Touch wood at the moment, not even on my radar. But how long, Debbie? You've been on it for 10 years, 9 years. That's a long time. And if you'd let your menopause carry on as it's meant to through the change of life, because that's what we're all designed to do. You could be on the other side of it now, potentially. How long are you meant to stay on this? Because potentially you're being artificially medicated forever. When do you put a stop to it?
If you read documentation by Louise Newson, you don't.
Okay.
Because you continue to fill your estrogen levels back up again.
Okay.
But what the reason you're here is because we had a really we had a really interesting conversation, because obviously I was like, woohoo, HRT,
and I was like,
and then you were like, just put the anchors on, put the brakes on. No, and that's why we need a rounded view. So
the reason I asked that is because I'm in that perimenopausal process. My sister's been in it since the 30s, her 30s. Wow. She's had the hot sweats since she must have been 32, something like that. Yeah, and but neither of me, my mum, my sister, we can never take hormones. So like the pill, the coil, all that just made us manic depressive. We were shocking, didn't work for us. So I know that I can't tolerate anything that's not necessarily natural. But she's gone down that road because she went. But she's also been diagnosed at 47 with ADHD. Right. And there's a lot of that knocking about, especially in women, and it's not easily diagnosed. So, Tigger, I'm not saying you are, but there's loads of ladies that, again, they're struggling to concentrate, they're struggling to juggle stuff, and then they're putting it down to menopause. It might not necessarily be menopause, it might be something else that they've always had, but it's just not shown itself up. So my sister had that as well, but she's chosen not to become medicated at 47. She's just learnt to live with the way she is, and she's got the gel now, which is the bioidentical. And that's the other question that I had for you, whether over those 9 years, as science has changed and the medications available have changed, has your HRT changed to go with it?
No, mine's just been kept at 2 milligrams.
No, but the actual type.
Oh right.
Because the bioidentical stuff.
Tablets as opposed to another
tablets. I take tablets.
So again, it's almost like, well, if those tablets are kind of doing the job for you, but we've moved on, science has moved on since then, and there'll be something that's maybe better for you. It's almost like, how do you keep on top of that? And again, it's just me playing devil's advocate. I'd want to know that you were getting the up to date best thing for your body. That's that. And then for me, I just. I was on a shitload of tablets for 12 years, opiate pain medication, and I my body was controlled by them. When I say controlled, I was like in a fog. So I was in that fog anyway. And when I had my full breakdown, which was mental and physical, and I had fibromyalgia, I just had that moment where I thought, I'm taking control of my body.
And I get that, and I think that's where I started at, that I didn't want anything.
You were anti-HRT,
I was completely
weren't you?
anti-HRT. I just didn't want to go there because I thought, I'm a strong woman, I'm not having anything, put in my body. But then I just got to the point of desperation, actually. Yeah,
and then my sister was like that, and she said, I'm going to jump off a bridge, and I said, don't do that just yet, love, I've got a bit of oil for that. For me, it was a case of, I'd learned so much about my body in the time that I took to heal myself, that once I realised that our society and our system only supports a medicated response, it really pissed me off. It pissed me off that we go to the doctors, like you just said, I went to the doctors, my husband, mine's the same, he rattles, my husband, like takes something for this, something for that, something for the other, like that. But that's the way we're taught, that's the way we're brought up. If you've got something that's not quite right, we'll go to the doctor, you can sit with him for 7 minutes, he'll give you a little prescription, off you go.
Treat the symptoms and
Treat the symptoms, not the cause. So I learned about my body, I learned what a hormone is. Do you know what a hormone is?
Go on.
Do you? Do you? So we don't get taught it. A hormone is a chemical messenger, and it's not just progesterone, estrogen and testosterone. Our whole body is functions through hormones. Like your thyroid is a hormone that creates your metabolism and your brain health and your thinking straight and your adrenaline for your fight or flight. So all of it is a hormonal function, but we don't get taught that, and we don't get taught what disrupts it. And for me, I just learned that the way that we live in this life of consumerism, where we've wanted to be faster and thinner and happier and calmer and more successful, we don't want to do the work, we want a pill. or we want a quick fix. We don't wash our windows with newspaper and lemon and vinegar anymore. We do it with a spray with a load of shit chemicals in that are massive endo-disrupting chemicals. And if I've not got anything to show you. Right, here we go. So this is my hormone receptor. Okay. Do you need a pen? No, I need something that I'll use this because it's the finger. So this is my hormone receptor, and this is my hormone. There it is. This hormone is a messenger that's going to go to the receptor and tell that receptor what that body part needs to do, what needs to happen. I'm just going to drink this. Okay. So it goes like that, it lands in there and it goes, right, do that, smashing, every job's a good one, your heart's beating, you're breathing, that's all hormonal function. What we do is we put a load of shit in our body and on our body, and we have, that comes on there, that's a xenoestrogen. The body though doesn't know that that's a baddie. The body doesn't know that that's giving you the wrong message, so think overweight, think brain fog, think hot sweats, think heavy periods, think all that. Because this is telling your body to do that, because it's not designed to tell you the truth. So what you need, the HRT potentially, is cleaning those receptor sites for a period. And what you can do is take plant-based estrogens to clear those receptor sites so that then your hormone can go and talk to your body again. And that's in a really simplistic way. So knowing what affects your body, what affects your hormonal function, what screws it up, will invariably make you make better decisions about what you put in and around your body. So for me, after I did it really quickly, and I did it without the doctor's permission. I didn't ask him. I did it in 3.5 months. I came off everything and swapped it all out for essential oils, natural holistic therapies, counselling, coaching, and other therapies. And as I dealt with the inner work and the trauma, my pain went. And as I got rid of the chemicals in my body started working properly as it should. So I've gone from being disabled and literally smacked off my tits on meds to living a healthy life. But I am very, very careful about what I put in and on it. And I've learnt that. So like your mum, you go through Kendall's. It's not even called Kendall's now, is it? That's my age. And they go, do you like to try some perfume? I go, like that, yeah. My mum's like that. She smells like a tarts parlour. Honest, she must put to it. And my mum says, my mum's German. My thyroid is not working. I'm not freaking surprised your thyroid gland's here. You've just put a load of perfume in it. Again, your thyroid is a gland that produces a hormone that makes your brain work properly and makes your metabolism work. And squirting perfume on it, your skin isn't a barrier for chemicals. You're putting a gel on and it's affecting your life now. You're putting the gel on, it's affecting your life. You put shit on your skin, that will affect your life too. So it's like, you're all right with that because the doctor's given it you. Yeah. But you can go and slap a load of shit on that you've bought from the body shop so you smell like a satsuma that's probably going to screw the whole thing up and make you bad. And it's
Smell nice.
Smell like a satsuma.
smell like a satsuma, but you actually weren't ready to stab your husband. But that's okay. But not knowing that, why would you not? Because society and consumerism says, smell like a satsuma. How smashing. So for me, going to the doctors to deal with something that, one, is a natural process. Every woman goes through it. The women that give birth in the trees in Africa, they all go through this same process. The difference is they have very little chemicals in their life. They have very little in terms of pollution. I've got a book in my bag, I'll show you, it's called The Blue Zones. And it's literally, the blue zones are the places around the world where there is little pollution, there's very little chemicals, people live a really simple life, and the women live till in the hundreds because they're fine. Because their body goes through that process.
I agree, Jules, and I think that's why I was so anti-HRT, because I agree with everything you're saying, but for me, I think I just got to that point of absolute desperation that, I tried reflexology, which probably reflexology was the only thing I tried, but I tried, exercise, cleaning my diet up, all those things that I thought, and and I wouldn't say that I've got an unhealthy lifestyle anyway, but it was just desperation. So I suppose my pushback to you would be, if you got to that point,
Yeah.
what do you think you'd do?
I at the moment.
Would you continue with your natural way of being, using your essential oils?
For me,
At
life's
what
all about
point might
choices.
you- yeah.
So,
Yeah.
and you've got one life, two choices always. And I would never say never to anything, because until you are in that position, you don't know. But what I do say is that what women don't do, they don't understand how their body works.
Yeah, I agree.
And
with
they
that.
literally get led down a path to say, yeah, hysterectomy for you, love, smash in, HRT for the next 40 years until you shuffle off this coil and crack on, love, and hopefully nothing goes on in between next. And that's how it feels.
Yeah.
Well, I think
So
that is the case, because there's a women's health strategy as well going through Parliament, which is the fact that the medical everything in the NHS is based on a man's body.
Yeah,
It is all so they are like reviewing how, so that's definitely the case.
Well, I met a lovely lady on retreat. She's a nurse, so we've got different views because she's obviously she's a medic.
Yeah.
And she has wanted to set up. She works in a doctor's practice, and she said, got so many ladies coming in that have got menopausal symptoms, and I'm sure there's different things that we could do for them. And the doctor said, "Oh, don't bloody go there. They're a pain in the neck. There's such a drain on resource." And she's like, "Holy shit!" So I said, "Well, if the doctor's surgery's not going to do it, you set up your own private practice, because there are thousands and thousands of women that need you." But just the education piece, we get half an hour on periods, we get a bit of sex education at school, we get a bit of respiratory system. That's it. We don't get anything else. And so for me, if it got to the point where things were bad, I would sit down and look at what I was doing first of all, because ultimately it's not just about what we put in and around our body, it's about our environment, it's about our stress levels. It all has a massive impact on our hormone balance. And so I'm sure that
And I would agree with that, because at the time when I was having a particularly bad time at work,
locked in the house,
very stressful. Then the pandemic hit. Been bloody working at home for 2 years. Changing your bloody desk in your next door bedroom. So that did play into it for sure, and that definitely didn't help.
Yeah, I agree. I think stress is a massive player, and I think the other thing that I've learned is that we dread this. When you ask women, they go, "Oh, bloody old menopause, bloody nightmare, isn't it?" Well, why is it? Why aren't you going to go,
You see,
I didn't.
You say that, I didn't. That doesn't even come into my head, because, as you said, it's a feminine thing. You have a period, you don't have a period. I wasn't like one that I didn't want to be Mother Earth, so me not having a period was not like I'm aging. I'm thinking, thank Christ for that. In my opinion,
I agree.
But I've come from what I would say stoic, strong women. Never spoke about it. You must be joking. Never heard about it. And I've said this before. You just get on with it. That's how I deal with it. I don't go to the doctors. I don't go for a paracetamol, so I'm not going to go for anything more than that. I try the little bit of education I've gained from talking in groups like this. I think, I'll try that, or I won't try that. I'll go to the gym, or I'll go for a run, or I'll go for a walk with my headset set in. But, and I've said this before, I've got the most amazing mother-in-law who, when I first met her, I'd cringe because she would talk about periods, bodies, sex, the whole thing, which were not talked about in my family at all, taboo. And I'd be like, oh God, she's off again. But because my husband heard it all, I don't have to explain stuff to him. So if she rings him and says, "Hi, how are the boys? How's Kate? How's she getting on?" And I say, "Oh, whatever," and she'll say something like, "She needs this. Give her a whatever it is. Make her a cup of tea, whatever." And I was saying to Mindy, she used to have years ago. She had a word that if she said the word, he just disappeared.
Just like
just
code
one
word.
word.
Yeah.
One word, and he left the room.
I like that idea.
I can't.
That reduced the stress of the arguments. There were never any arguments. Yes, she had a nana naps, and I never understood why she did that. I do now. So it's that point. I don't advocate look after yourself that much. I do it a bit for myself. But I would never do the HRT route unless I was desperate. That and then it would be my choice. You know, it's all. But I've never had it because I've never had the conversations with my mum. I can see some of the rages now, but then I can guarantee she didn't speak to her mum about it.
Yeah.
All I can say is that if my boys have partners, female partners, then they're lucky.
Yeah.
Because they're going to see how Andrew and I do it and how we communicate about it.
Yeah, agreed.
It is education, and I think the stress, if you've got a husband and you're arguing with him and you're fit to stab him, you know, but then like Andrew does not even step up to me or, you know, come back at me with an argument, because he just knows that argument's not coming from me being
a rational person.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So you can't argue with an irrational person, can you? So he just removes himself. But the problem is, not all men are educated to that. He just had a really good mum that did it.
Well, we're not educated, are we?
Yes.
Exactly. And you know, my entry into menopause was surgical menopause, because I had a mastectomy after breast cancer, and I got every single element of the menopause, including the rages, and you know, my husband and I, Jonathan, you know, we have this. I'll come back in 10 minutes time. It's that kind of I need to step away, but because of the type of breast cancer that I had, I'm not allowed HRT, so I had to find alternative ways to help me. I mean, I am an acupuncturist, so of course I'm going to advocate acupuncture, but there is other things that have changed in my diet and lifestyle, which are, you know, yes, more exercise, but less cooling foods. You know, I used to love lamb. Lamb just, no, it's a no-no now. You know, less alcohol, more water, essential oils. I have a full body massage every 6 weeks. I have reflexology. I have acupuncture. I mean, I do everything I possibly can, because I'm not allowed to have HRT. So, but in a way that for it's. I don't like the word force, but it's forced me to find alternative ways to actually cope with it.
Exploring all of that.
But that's probably as well because of the level of stress that you were under at the time as well, and you were up to there with it all. It was just like, help me now.
And I completely get where you're coming from a chemical point of view, because the first thing I did was I went home and went, what has parabens in it? What has these chemicals in it? And I've literally changed everything. You know, to of course there's there is lots and lots of products now, and you were saying about HRT changing, and you were saying about medications changing. Absolutely, they have evolved over the last 5 to 10 years, and I keep an eye on that, because, you know, is there an opportunity that I might end up, you know, being able to have it? But now I've kind of come out the other end of the menopause.
There you go, you've done it. You're out of it.
I would say I'm probably 80-85% through it, that I think, okay, and I feel like I'm getting me back, but it's really hard when you're stuck right in that. It's almost, I always akin it to a tornado, that you're standing in the middle of the tornado and you're so frightened to step into something that's just going to take you to a completely different direction.
Yeah, I agree.
And it's really hard. It's really, when we were talking before about education, you know, it's only not last year, the year before, that they've actually started educating secondary school children about menopause, because when we had sex education at school, you knew what a penis did, you knew what your vagina did, you know how to put a bloody condom on a cucumber or a banana. And I remember William coming home and seeing one of my books and saying, oh, I've been learning about that today, and now, you know, he's going through puberty, and I'm going, sit down, talk to me about it, what you know, and he said, oh, it's when, you know, your hormones go, and da-da-da, and I said, so that's kind of a little bit like puberty, and do you know what, it was a wonderful
nice
conversation, But why is it taken to 2000 before we start educating our young people about it?
To be honest, I agree, and I think it was Davina doing her programme that kicked it all off in the mainstream.
Yeah.
And then I think I've been talking about this for 4 years, and you need somebody that's in the limelight to speak
To
about
raise
it,
awareness.
to raise awareness, and actually it affects half of the population, but it's just not talked about at all. So no, I completely get that. So how many years ago was your mastectomy?
It's coming up to 6 years.
So 6 years and you're almost through it. So that this is why I'm thinking like all these chemicals that you're putting in forever now.
Yeah.
But you could be through it in 6-7 years.
But I was only 46 when I found my life. So 46 being plunged into surgical menopause, and nobody educated me. Nobody and my consultant was amazing because I had a reconstruction at the same time as a mastectomy. But you know, nobody sat me down and said,
this is what's going to happen.
just so that you know, you need to prepare yourself. And it's like when you go back to school, isn't it? When you go back to that school element that says, this is what you need to prepare yourself. So if our children are educated, like Katie said, that are much more educated in, Mum's not like going mad. I mean, like look back in generations.
Yeah.
They locked us up for goodness'
They locked us
sake.
up, and then they
And
had
gave us
mother's little helper, didn't they? The
electric
Valium.
shocks and all kinds of things, you know. And it's like
We'd have been burnt at the stake.
down in a barrel down the.
And I did relief coding on Naomi. She actually died at the witch trials.
Oh, did she?
Yeah, she died at witch. She's a proper witch. I love her. Guess what she was called?
Go on.
Germintrude. I was crying, laughing. I went, can we just stop a minute? Can you come back to me? What? Germintrude.
I mean, I think I said this before to some of my friends. You know, if this was a male thing, I think males would have sorted this out sooner rather than later.
It's all very well educating, but the system has to catch up.
Yeah.
The system has to.
Yeah.
Well, the system should be. I went for my a few years ago now. I went for my smear test. How long do we get?
3 years.
3 years ago, and I said. She said, "Are you still having your periods yet? Have you thought about HRT?" I said, "I'm not going down that road. No. Can you tell me what alternatives there are to HRT?" I went, "I was like that. What's funny?" So I said, "What alternatives are you offering apart from HRT?" She went, "I've just got to tick this box and just print this out." And I got 8 pages, double pages about HRT, and I just went, "You can keep that. It's fine.
Yeah.
It's fine." And it was.
She just had, so that was just because
It's
of
a
your
tick
age.
box.
Should be a tick
Yeah, it's a tick box.
HRT.
But our medical system is a business, so healthy people don't make money. Prescriptions and patients make money. End of story. They're not interested. When I came off all my meds, like, can you imagine? I must have been like, ka-ching, when I went to the doctors every week. Ka-ching, next. Another few prescriptions there. So I've not been to doctors for 5 years. I don't need to. So I'm no longer an asset to them. So the people that they need is, and literally you go in and they say, yeah, we've got, do you remember what is it when they've got the cholesterol, statins were the thing. Yeah, tick that, prescribe statins, off you go. The majority of people that are going through the worst parts of the menopause, because they have the worst diets, they live in the worst conditions, they have the worst levels of stress, they've got the lowest income, they're the people that need it. They're not the people that get access it. They get down that road because you get a free prescription, that probably costs £2.50 and it's charging 10 quid for, and whatever else will go down that whole road. But it's those people that are going to struggle the most, because in the nicest, we are well educated women. We know how to make choices. We make choices about our own body, about our own lifestyles. Some people don't have. It's so cheap and easy to eat shit. It's to eat well is expensive. I live my life, but I just know what I can have and what I can't have and what affects me. So I listen. It's easier for me to hear my body talking to me, rather than me saying, "Oh, I've got a bad stomach." Yeah, you've got a bad stomach because you've thrown a load of shit down your throat for the weekend. That's why. You don't need a tablet. So I'd already started that process. So again, if you are taught that the cleaner your life, the body because this is where we live.
Yeah, but I get that, but it's not costing me any more money. So, for instance...
But it is for the people that are struggling to pay for it.
It's not to go out for a walk.
No.
You know, like for your mental health. So if I'm sitting there and I can't concentrate, I just go, right, enough, out, go for a walk. It's not looking
Get
for
in nature.
a prescription or anything else. That is still affordable, even if you live in a town, you know, skyrise thing or whatever it is. You can still make choices, and that, for me, it's the choices. But then I also think, is it just genetic that we get it at different strengths? Does that make sense? You know, like, because I remember girls at school, they would be off for 5 days because their periods were so bad. For me, if they were 3 days, that was fine. No pains, no nothing. So again, for me, I'm thinking, well, that's fine. But I know friends were so poorly with it that they had to stay off. So like me on the menopause, I'm nearly through it as far as I'm concerned. Not had a period for 2 years. Not had any of the hot sweats. The husband might say, you know, my mood swings or whatever else, not particularly too bad on sleep, because my husband's got sleep apnea, so I don't know whether it's my sleep or his sleep that's keeping us both awake, but somebody is. So again, I'm that kind of upbringing that you just get on with it. But I am also educated to say, right, okay, enough about this. I can go for a walk, or I've been off alcohol for the last 6 weeks. What a change that has made, you know, and not eating sugar. That's another thing. But again, that's diet choice. So there are choices as opposed to before I even go anywhere near.
Yeah.
And I suppose that's where I was.
Right.
So
that's why you were interested in saying that. Yes.
I was exactly where you were. You know, I'd struggled probably. And when I say struggled, you know, I didn't think at the time when I was having hot sweats, I thought, oh, these are okay, you know, if this is as bad as it gets, it's okay.
Yeah.
But then they did just get worse. But I do think stress played a big part of that. And when you talk
I feel
about,
like she's going to come and wallop me at some point. I'm waiting for like this big wave.
You know, I kept thinking, you know, and I was very much, you know, I'm a strong person. I don't need, you know, to take tablets. I was probably brought up very similar in that it just wasn't talked about. You just, you know, struggled through, you coped with it, you got through the end. But yeah, I just got to a point where it just got too bad.
Because it's like even going for childbirth. When they gave me the birthing plan, I just put everything as and when I asked for it.
Because you know what you want, exactly.
Well, I had gas and air. That was it.
Yeah.
But if I wanted epidurals, if I wanted you to knock me out, it just said whatever, whenever. That was it. So those were still my choices. I didn't want to be in a pool drowning or any of that rubbish. That wasn't coming my way. I was just having a baby. That was it.
I was in a pool. I never drowned though, Katie. I never drowned. I've never lost it.
But you know, but it's like women have had babies forever. They've survived. You know, majority of them.
Because when I was at college, learning traditional Chinese medicine acupuncture, we talked about, or we read a scripture about a colony that, I'm going back thousands and thousands of years ago, that lived off the land, that lived, you know, everything was homegrown, etc., etc. And women were still having babies at 60 and 70 years old. And, you know, okay, fast forward, we've had the Industrial Revolution, you know, we've got lots of chemicals, you know, it just shows you that there's something somewhere about that element. But when you look at stress levels, you know, we've become a lot more stressful as a Western society, I think, certainly in the last 20 to 30 years. And I'm going to pinpoint it onto it's been because of technology.
The other thing, the stress thing. So the stress hormone is cortisol, again, a hormone, but that can change progesterone into cortisol. So stress, if you know the levels of stress you have, they can change those. Your normal hormones, your estrogen, your progesterone, they can be changed then into cortisol. And then if your stress levels, this is another analogy. If you wake up in the morning and your cup's empty of cortisol, and then every time a stress trigger happens, so for us it isn't a tiger chasing us, which is where evolution brought us to. Society has moved on, like you say, in such a pace. Evolution hasn't kept up. So an email, ping, cortisol. A bill comes through the door, ping, cortisol. Someone's saying, have you got my email, ping, cortisol. So before you go to bed, your cortisol is, you're up here, you're spilling over. If you don't then sleep, so how can you sleep, right? If you're running away from this tiger, you're running, and then you say to your body, right, sleep now. You're going to say, holy shit, there's no way I'm sleeping. I've got a bucket full of cortisol here. So the sleep gets rid of the cortisol because your oxytocin takes over and reduces it. But if you don't sleep, you're starting tomorrow with your bucket up here. And it just carries on and carries on, carries on. So then your progesterone, which is estrogen mows the lawn, grows the lawn, progesterone mows it. Your progesterone is then cortisol. So that goes out of hands and your hormonal balance
But you
is
say
all
about
over.
I look at the choices, and I think we're also a culture now that we want the answers, or we want the quick fix.
Yeah.
So if the HRT does it and it's 4 days in and you're feeling better, but if somebody was sat as a medical practitioner saying the HRT, you'll start feeling a little bit better in 4 days. However, if you went swimming or walking, but that might take you 30 days. It's the choices that you want. I would say most people would choose.
I think I've probably chosen HRT not as an easy route, but I pigeonhole things the only way. I put everything into boxes so that I get in order to
cope with them.
Yes, to have my coping mechanisms and things. So I put them into boxes. So when it comes to, I know I've got issues with some perimenopausal symptoms. It could be stress. It might not be perimenopausal. It could be anything. But I want a solution, a fast track solution. And I do want a fast track solution so I can put it in another box and move on and deal with all the other boxes.
Okay.
And unfortunately, I don't think I'm alone in that. And I've gone to that box. That box works for me, and I don't like hearing people telling me something different. I really struggle with like the alternatives and things,
But God bless you for listening, because you could just shut it down. Like,
yeah.
But
I know. That's what will happen overnight tonight. I'll have heard all your information. I'll be going, I'm doing the wrong thing, and then I'll go, oh no, it's all right, it's working. Go and sleep. It's all fine. And so I'll put it back in a box again. It'll be fine. But we're doing this so that everybody has a rounded view and can make a decision about whether it's the right thing for them.
I think it's just having the choice, and you've got your own choice, but whatever your choice is has its own consequences. So if you're going to be on HRT for the next 100 years, then that's your choice.
Make it to 147. It'll be pretty cool, won't it?
So a lady came to me, and her she was late 50s, 57 maybe, 58. She had her kids really young, but she started a menopause really young, at like 39, so to say. And she'd been on an HRT tablet for all that time, and then they've discontinued the tablet. So the doctor just said to her then, well, you've been on it too long anyway, you've been on it 20 years now, you can come off it. Well, can't you prescribe something else? Well, no, because it's different now, so they don't have it anymore, so crack on. So literally within hours, the hot sweat started again. So again, you've not moved through this menopause, this thing that your body's meant to be doing. And literally, straight away she said, and I just can't cope with the thing. So I just gave her peppermint oil. Sounds bleeding mad. And I said, right, what I want you to do is, when you feel the hot flush starting, she said, I can feel it from your toes. It comes up like a wave. I said, I just want you to put it on the back of your neck, and I want you to put it here and here. And literally, straight away she went, yeah, it's gone, stopped at the ankles, gone. So 20 years of living with a tablet every day that's controlling everything. And actually, her biggest issue was these debilitating hot sweats. And with a bit of peppermint oil, they've gone.
What about sleep?
Yeah,
So again,
Sorry.
No, it's
but
fine.
sleep. So there are different things that you can use for sleep. So, and if you get hot in the night for sleep,
I've tried it.
well, I did it for my friend. My friend that really suffers from hot sweats, and I made her this blend up. That I met a lady on a convention somewhere, and she said, I found it, because oils are a bit like tablets. You sometimes find the ones that work for you. And she gave me this blend, and I made up 7 for her, 7 little vials of them on. I said, just want you to put it on. I want you to massage it into the bottom of your back and on your stomach. That's it, before you go to bed. And she slept like the dead for 7 days.
I need that.
That's what I need.
She slept like the dead for 7 days.
Because I think the one thing we've
Can
not
I book him
talked
for-
about is one of the other symptoms that I genuinely didn't realise this was associated to being menopausal was palpitations. Lots of palpitations, and that was also contributing probably to the lack of sleep in the night.
Because you could feel it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You feel your heart. But that's a symptom, isn't it? The
It's a
palpitations
symptom,
is
yeah.
just a symptom. And that.
Yeah.
So it was the palpitations that I had when I went to the doctors the very last time, and they gave me beta blockers. Not counselling,
Well,
not any talking therapy, straight on the beta blockers, and that's when I felt my body shut down. I thought I was dying. I literally thought I was dying, and I slept for 2 days, woke up, realised I wasn't dead, and thought, right, that's it, no more. So that is just a symptom. I know it sounds like just, because at the time you think, holy shit, my heart's coming out my chest. But again, if you can do some abdominal breathing exercises, and just you can you can retrain your mind to stop that. So you can use something called aromatic anchoring. Not the word. I've lost the word. It'll come back. So basically,
Qigong's like that as well.
with
Qigong.
What's that?
It's a bit like Tai Chi, but it's all about breath work.
Yeah.
And you can do a whole diploma in it, but
breath work is
yeah.
From when I was doing yoga, I'd never slept as well as I did after a yoga session.
Because of the breathing.
Yeah,
because we're so, again, we go back to society. I always say sometimes it's a bit like a yappy dog breath that we've got. We kind of go, right, what's next? What's next? And actually we need to take time out to actually deep breathe. You know, that's when meditation and stuff like that. And when you do exercise, all of a sudden you do actually breathe properly, don't you? And you kind of go, right, I've been to the gym this morning and go, right, okay, breathe and lift, and but you just it's about that kind of life is breath is life.
Meditation's really helped with my sleeping as well. But I was on Zopiclone, which was the sleeping tablet, the really addictive one, and I swapped it out.
Your doctor loved you.
Honest to God, it was like literally can't sleep.
No wonder it was Kachingin, because you were literally rattling.
But with fibromyalgia, you go and it is literally like a disease of the day. The family used to say, "What disease is it today, Jules?" Like, can punch you in the face day. Because your brain basically says that hurts today, and there's no physical reason, or you're not sleeping today. So I swapped out Zopiclone which doesn't make you sleep. That literally just knocks you out for 7 hours, and you wake up. You open
Still
your eyes.
feeling a bit dead.
Feeling completely dead, and you've got this metallic taste in your mouth. And I used vetiver, cedarwood, and lavender, and I literally put 2 drops of each on the bottom of my feet, and put it on the back of my neck. And within 3 days, there was no more Zopiclone. And I thought, holy shit, how can I have been taking those tablets?
The best-selling thing that Molton Brown used to do, and they don't do it anymore, and it had vetiver in it, and it was their sleep mist. And you'd spray it on your pillows and you'd go to sleep because it had those essentials in it.
So the classical conditioning stuff, I've now retrained my brain that when I smell vetiver, that's me. That's me. That's my shutdown smell. That's my right. You're done.
See, the great thing for me having this discussion is, I was so anti HRT to begin with, but it's helped me through a period of my life. But listening to the way you talk about oils and and that's, I suppose, for me, I was looking for those things and couldn't find
that's what
them.
I'm saying. So you've got the likes of Louise Newson, but nobody's shouting loud enough for the alternative. There's ladies like you, and I don't mean little ladies, but you haven't got the stage or the voice for everyone else. Yes, if you're in a room like this, you can talk the alternatives, but there isn't somebody, other if there is somebody like Holly Willoughby who's on her way up talking about it now, but it's not real choice. There is the free choice, but what I'm saying is, I know you're saying it's expensive, but if that choice became more and more relevant, then the price would go down, because there'd be more people doing it, and then there would be alternatives offered at the doctors, because it might be that yes, they have a script to fill on for monetary terms, but then somebody like you might be offered the same terms as the doctors.
I see what you're saying. It wouldn't. I see what you're saying, but it'll never happen because pharma run the world. And it's just corrupt. I mean, that's another discussion. That's another one, but it's corruption.
That's the problem, because you're almost shouting in a very big empty room. Because you're saying, but there is a choice over here.
Which is why I wrote my book.
Yeah.
Like the one that you're going to write.
Yes. The one that's actually in the book club.
The one that's in the book club. So because I wanted. So it's not about ego. It's not about having a book. It's about spreading the message.
So
it's about spreading the message far and wide.
Somebody like you and somebody like you, then clearly it has to be that you're on more stages, bigger stages.
Just speaking out, exactly, and just spreading the word and making choice and alternatives the norm, rather than Ooh, never heard of that.
But equally, it's not to medicate or not to medicate. It might be that, you know, it's all right to go to have a nana nap for an hour. It's all right to go for a walk, because I think it's crucial that hour. You know, you can have that hour, and you should have that hour in the day. Whether you go for a massage, or you go for a walk, whether you sit and meditate, whether you put oils on yourself, it's choice, because you kind of actually need that hour. That
It's vital.
It's
completely vital, but we don't have it.
No, we don't.
But we do if we live intentionally.
But do you think that's because maybe it is a bit of the conditional side as well, that I always, before my mastectomy, I was always kind of the last person that not looked after myself.
That's normal as a mum.
But you'd go, you know, mum duty, mum this, washing, ironing, cleaning, cooking, you know, and then all of a sudden a trauma happens to you and you go, hang on a second.
Life's more important.
But also that trauma has rattled everybody else that has had you doing all that, holding all those plates and keeping, and they suddenly thought, oh, okay.
Yeah. And that for me, when I look now back almost 6 years, and it's not that Jonathan never did anything around the house, but he probably does a lot more. William does a lot more. You know, and I have blocks in my diary that says, that's my massage.
Amazing.
End off. That's my facial. End off.
Yeah.
You know, and
it's non-negotiable.
There was something the other week, and
but that's more important than anything else, as far as I'm concerned.
Something happened with the washing machine, and I went, I'm just going on.
I can't get stressed about it.
See ya.
I think it gets to the point. I think you'll get to a point in life that every woman will get to it, unless she snuffs it first, where you think there's got to be more to it than this, and actually, there's your choice again.
Yeah.
You're either going to suck it up and carry on being a miserable, overworked mentalist, or you're going to create some balance. And it's the creating balance. But that is, again, it's a choice.
But I don't know whether you would take note of that when you were in your late 20s, early 30s, because that's when really you should have started doing this stuff where you're looking after yourself and having an hour for yourself and just getting used to doing that.
But I think we're the last generation now, Katie, because I think we're teaching our siblings, our offspring, to live differently.
I think so.
So like now, my kids know that they work to do whatever they want to do, but they don't work to live, or whatever the thing is. They work to live.
They don't live to work.
Don't live to work. They don't live to work. No, they don't live to work. They do what they enjoy. You live. This is all about memories. This isn't about stuff. You don't need shit in your. You don't need it. This is about just living your life, and you've got one of them. So don't be doing stuff that you don't want.
I think you're right. You know, because William was 16, not last week, the week before. He had a party and he got all these cards and everything. And of course, I'm tidying them all up. And I opened this card and it said to William, I hope that we can make some nice core memories together again as friends. And I thought, and I was like, oh, she fancies it. But now that you've just said that, I'm thinking actually, and they've literally eradicated bullying, because they go, nobody bullies anybody anymore. It's not that kind of, and I think that generation is actually, you know, I love you, and all the cards are, I love you, and you're amazing, and okay, they're 16, but isn't it good that they want to make memories together?
I was in an office like with Liv, Georgie, and Jodie at 30 odd. So, and I was like the granny in there, and the conversations about what they got to keep up with, what the boys have got to keep up with, which you can imagine went down like a lead balloon. When I was concerned with the men, my husband does nearly everything in my house. So that, and I was like, it shocked me. Because they all talk about the moving on and they're all women's lib and all this, and I'm sat in this room and I'm thinking, that's not working. And I'm like, tell him to get bloody lost, come and pick you up, or what are you waiting for him for, or why are you doing that, why are you dressing that way for that, or whatever it was. I always seem to have the opposite, and they'd look at me like I've got 3 heads.
You've not got an opinion, surely.
But why? And also, because I would think why are you doing that? So I get what you're saying at 16, because everybody loves everybody. Oh, I love you. I love you. No, they don't. That's when it frightens the life out of them, because actually somebody might do something on them that's wrong. Yeah. So I hope that females particularly, but having been in an office, I'm thinking, no.
I think a lot, for me, a lot depends on life experience.
Definitely.
And I think, like, my daughter, I know we've had a chat about that, she had a really tough time at primary school. So she had play therapy at primary school and she learnt some really hard life lessons really early. But now, going through the shit that they go through at 15, 16, she just opts out. She's got the friends and she'd say, and I say, what's going on there? She goes, Mum, I don't even listen. I just say, you crack on.
I love that because that's
that.
how I think.
Like
Nobody
that.
educated me to that.
Yeah.
It was just my I just blocked it out. I wasn't bullied. I didn't bully. Just was in my own thing. And then when I hear it, not that they were saying they were bullied, but when they care about what other people think, and I'm like, why?
Too much.
Too much.
Yeah.
And I'm like, why?
She's not like that now.
Girls can be. Yeah.
And she'll do things like she's got a manifestation card, she's got a moon card, she journals, she said, I'm manifesting this to happen. Brilliant, crack on, love. Crack, you know, she sells her old clothes, she doesn't just want, so again, it's just teaching a different way. And actually, if you don't want to do something, don't bloody do it. Don't just follow the crowd.
Isn't that down to us though as well?
Yeah,
isn't it?
Yes, absolutely.
Isn't that because you know we
You don't want what we had.
Yeah, exactly. We're at that generation where we want to make a change to that.
But I think we can influence to a point with our kids.
Definitely.
But I think after that point, you know, you talk about, you know, working with Liv and other people. I think there's also a point where they're so influenced by social media and what the friends are doing. And so I think you can only influence to a point.
So hard.
It is so hard.
They've got as you just said about the noise, they've got so much noise. I don't know how they think. I genuinely don't know how they've got the capacity
Constantly
to
on
take
their
phone.
because it's
conversations all over
not
the
their own
place.
thought.
Yeah,
it's somebody else's thought that was over there. Because I walk around my house bleating like a sheep because I think my boys just follow what everyone else is doing. So I'm going, bah! I'm following around the house because I say do something yourself and let everybody else follow. But they can't do it. They won't wear. My son won't wear this expensive coat with the fur lining because everyone else doesn't wear it with the fur.
Yeah, because they have to have the suit. And I said, I've got the
I was
same.
like, stand out, wear the fur, because the next day they'll all have the fur, but they don't get it.
Yeah.
But we didn't have the noise that they have. I don't know how they can even have one thought.
Girls are the worst.
Yeah, I took Gracie for counselling because she just said, Mum, my head's going to explode. So I need to see Andrew. So I said, that's fine, I'll phone up, take her. 3 bleeding hours was sat outside in the car like that. But what Andrea said, so she called me in afterwards and she said, I've just explained to her that when we were kids, we had a phone in the hall on a wire with a lock on it usually.
And the wire was like that stretched around. You tried to get it outside.
I go into the toilet and shut the door.
But when we came home from school, that was it, wasn't it?
Yeah.
That was it.
Yeah.
But now, the phone's going ping, ping, ping,
Constantly.
and going again talking about that cortisol. And Gracie said her periods have stopped. She said, I'm not bleeding. Surprised the stress that she's under. Ping, ping, ping. I said, your hormonal balance is like that. Because you completely stressed off your head. And Andrea said to her, your mum and me, we got home from school and we stopped. You've got it 24/7,
But you know what?
24/7.
We've had, I think now for about the last 3 weeks in our house, not me because I'm not technically minded. My husband's got this thing on his app and he turns everybody's
off.
device on at 10 o'clock.
Yeah.
I can't tell you how it's changed their life.
Really?
Did you go mad at first?
Oh my God.
I didn't turn the Wi-Fi off.
Mine's isolated, obviously, because I use mine.
I was going to say, he doesn't actually have control completely.
No, he could, but I'd kill him.
just feels
And I mean every device. He just lists it down. And they're all off at 10 o'clock, it goes off. Monday to Friday, it's off. And I've got a 22-year-old and a 16-year-old.
Wow.
Our house, our rules, because they would be in their bedrooms, because university's still at home, so he's at home, the eldest. The youngest is going to school, but obviously takes the phone with him. And it's right, it's beep, beep, beep.
Well, it's even all the notifications, isn't it? And social media. The social media though is designed to do that, isn't it? That's what they.
Absolutely.
You know, you have to clear the notifications, and you have to. Yeah, and it's
The way that Andrew explained it to her, she said it's like parking the car up on the drive, but leaving the engine running until the next morning when you get back into it for school. And she said, and your brain's not resting, so there's no wonder that you're feeling.
And they're like zombies
overwhelmed.
then. So I have to say, 3 weeks, such a difference. It's like it's amazing to see them downstairs.
New habit for them then. Embraced it.
hard at first,
Yeah.
but they were, Andrew said, that's it.
Yeah.
And because they've always done it from a child, not technology, they weren't allowed to play the games in the school week, but the Wi-Fi now, because obviously Tom's older, really can't push it, but he does because it's his house and our rules, that kind of thing. But yeah, after 10 o'clock, it's off. And the youngest is his data runs out, so he's got nothing, so he can't do anything.
Ah, nice.
But it's 3 weeks in. It's that
Normal.
yeah.
Normal, isn't
Yeah.
it?
You can't wait for 7:15 when it goes back on.
Bloody hell! I can't even. I don't
It
even
was
want to look
a
at my phone.
battle to start with, but now they're sleeping. As I say, they're downstairs having dinner with us. It was a bit weird. I'm like, hello,
Basically, right.
these two, around the house.
Yeah.
But yeah, absolutely, yeah.
I think it's a
difference.
really good move, because I think it's another massive hormone disruptor, the stress, and it's constant.
And for the younger one, it can be a reward. He does his homework or he does his revision for an hour. He gets an extra hour or something. That's what he does with it.
Yeah. So the only other thing that I've got to say on the subject of detoxing with chemicals is there are 2 apps which I recommend that every woman has on her phone, even though we're talking about not getting on your phone. One's called Think Dirty,
Got it after you recommended it on your thing.
and one's called the Chemical Maze. So Think Dirty, you can scan your products all under your sink and whatever and it'll tell you whether it's red, orange or green. Red is dirty, orange is like hovering around, and green is okay, go for it. And it'll also tell you what body systems it's affecting.
What do you mean, like the cleaning products?
Yeah.
And your personal care products
Okay,
as
yeah.
well.
Tropic skincare comes up quite well, doesn't it?
Tropic's
We've
really
got
good.
the refill shed, haven't we, in Davenham?
Yeah.
That's brilliant.
But again, just make sure what you're refilling it with.
Right,
Anything with the word fragrance or parfum in isn't great.
no.
Tropic is really good from a makeup point of view, but parabens that you talked about, shampoos, conditioners, they've all got this stuff in. Deodorants as well, full of metals, and you talked about dementia earlier. Women with dementia,
Aluminium, isn't it?
Aluminium's huge,
Yeah.
and the amount of metal that we take in from our environment as well, and dementia and Alzheimer's is growing in women all the time. So again, just be mindful.
But I was just
and
thinking
careful.
about when we was talking about the girls and the education in the right age, and yet they're not here having the conversation because they can't hear it. They can't. I didn't hear it from my mum or any, even I think about my mum's sisters. They just didn't mention it. My grandma didn't mention it. I wouldn't have known I'm going through it either. But a conversation at some point could have been 6 adults, not adults because they're adults, but 6 of this age that have done have it, and those that are in the 25s, 30s.
Yeah.
Because it's coming your way whether you like it or
It's
not.
a shame actually, because in my house, because my son's still with us, he's probably the one who's taken more interest because he's been there and he's gone through it with us.
Yeah.
When I've been
But
there,
again, like
I've been there on the sofa dressing up, dressing up, dressing
But he'll be so good if he gets a wife, he will understand it.
Yeah.
And he's been inadvertently educated
Yeah.
to it. But it's the girls
Yeah.
that they need to hear these funny, frank conversations. You're going to be okay. It's a bit tough. It can be a bit shit, but you can do the HRT route or you can do the alternative route. This is what's on the table. You decide.
Yeah, exactly. And that's it, any choice.
Yeah.
We just need the system to catch up so that it's available to everybody, because it isn't available to everybody unless you can afford it.